Good morning, I'm your host Joanne Dross with HBN TV. We're here at the Lorain County Regional Airport for the annual Discover Aviation Airplane and Car Show hosted by Discover Aviation Center and Lorain County Visitors Center. A display of military and civilian aircraft combined with a car show of antique, muscle, classic and vintage cars, pancake breakfast from 8 to 11, balloon activities and face painting for the kids, the food truck from 11 until 4, and the aircraft displays include TMB Avenger, the Stearman biplane, C-123 Thunderpig, various military and civilian aircraft. Free rides for the kids ages 8 to 17, that's tomorrow.
I'm a trooper with the Highway Patrol in the aviation section. Currently I'm flying a Cessna 182. It's about a 230 horsepower engine. We have roughly 84 gallons worth of usable fuel that we're able to use. It typically can stay up in the air roughly about 6 to 7 hours, give or take. And then typically we'll just go out on a normal day. We'll operate the aircraft and do searches. As far as our criminal search, we can just go low and slow, look out the window. And then we can also do our airspeed operations, primarily is what this plane is used for, which is just typically going to be us flying around a specific airspeed zone as far as an interstate. And we will use the white lines on the edge of the road, and we'll clock the speeders with the stopwatches that we have inside of our flight bag. Then we'll do all of our other searches as far as the pursuits and criminal searches, missing person searches, and then we can also be the first responder to a search where it would be more in depth where we need a helicopter. Right now we have 11 182s in our section. We have a GA8 Airvan. It's an Australian-made aircraft. And then we also have a Cessna 208 Caravan, and we have 3 A-Star helicopters. At primarily any given time, we have at least 1 aircraft airborne at all times during the day. So we fly out of the Don Scott Airport, or the OSU Airport. That's located in Dublin, which is on the northwest side of the greater part of Columbus. And currently right now we have 8 pilots. Some of those pilots are also cross-trained as helicopter pilots. And then we also have 4 tactical flight officers right now. Those tactical flight officers, they're dedicated to work the camera systems and the radios and stuff like that for the aircraft. I call them the liaison between the air and the ground units.
I'm Jeff Wheeler. This is a Myers OTW. It was made in 1941. We've owned it since 2006. It took 5 years to rebuild, 4 years to redo the fuselage, and a year for the engine. It was designed as a trainer, so it holds one person. The instructor sat in the front, and the student sat in the back. It has a 160 horse Kinner engine, 5-cylinder. It holds 24 gallons and uses about 10 gallons an hour. So it only goes about an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. We just use it it's just a pleasure airplane. We just use it to fly around here and go to air shows.
I'm Ian Hangst, and I'm the chief pilot and captain of the DC-3 that you see behind us. The military calls it a C-53, and we call it Beach City Baby. We found this airplane about 10 years ago in Beach City, Ohio. It had been sitting there for over 20 years and was neglected, and it was to the point where birds were living in it, the tires were rotting, and it needed some attention. So our founder, Jason Capra, found it. He approached the owner and offered to buy the airplane, which we proceeded to do. We formed a foundation called Vintage Wings Incorporated, and we got a bunch of people together to clean the airplane up. Spent about 3 years getting it ready to fly, and Jason and I flew it out of there and flew it over to Franklin, Pennsylvania, where we keep the airplane. We spent about another 3.5 years and working on it over there. We repainted it. We outfitted it with decorations like it would have had in World War II when it was operating in North Africa, so during Operation Torch. The airplane was originally built as a DC-3 to be a airliner in 1941, and in 1942 it was finished in January. And as you hopefully know, Pearl Harbor happened on December 7th, 1941. The United States went into war, and the airplane was then taken by the military and turned into what they call a C-53. So many of you know that C-47 is a very common airplane to call this, but this is a C-53, which is a troop carrier airplane or a personnel transporter rather than a cargo airplane, which is what the C-47 is. So we have just the passenger door and baggage door rather than the cargo door like the C-47 does. The airplane can hold 800 gallons of fuel. It can fly for almost 7 hours at about 150 knots. And we keep it in Franklin. We do our maintenance over there in a hangar during the winter, and then in the summer we take it around to 10 or 12 different events like this one to keep history alive. That's the whole reason we do this, is to share history, make sure people remember what happened, especially with our country in World War II and the effort that thousands of young men put their lives to keep our country free.
Hi, we're here with Mike Kai, and with his home-built plane. And Mike, how long have you had this airplane, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure, you bet. We've been flying this airplane for 25 years. It took 5 years to build. It's a home built. It's made out of wood, fabric, steel. It's an old engine out of a Piper Cub that we rebuilt. And so we've taken it to Oshkosh a couple times up in Wisconsin. But mostly we like to go to small flying events like this that are nearby.
What do you use it for?
Just pleasure flying. Yeah, just fun pleasure flying, giving rides, flying over a baseball game and waving to the people in the stands, just simple stuff like that.
Do you fly out of this airport here?
Fly out of a small airport called Columbia Station Airport. It's about 7-8 miles
Yeah, we know it.
away. Yeah.
Okay. How much fuel does it hold, and how long can it stay in the air?
Yeah, this holds 17.5 gallons. You can stay in the air about 2.5 hours. Usually you're really ready to get out of the seat by then, because it's plywood. It's a plywood seat, and the wind will buffet you like you're on a motorcycle or on a speedboat. So you really don't want to be up there very much longer than that. Usually about 2 hours, and you're ready to get out.
How long did you say it took you to build this?
It was 5 years.
Oh, okay. All
5 years. A friend of mine had built one. He and his dad built one in the 1980s. He gave me a ride, and the open cockpit experience was phenomenal. I got to have one of these. So instead of flying Pipers or Cessnas or renting, I ended up doing that. So building.
Well, that's cool. And how many horsepower did you say that
It's 65 horsepower. Very, very common engine. engine in World War II. It was manufactured for trainers in World War II, Piper Cubs and things like that. And they're still very abundant, and parts are available today.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's not hard to get the parts for this?
No, I just rebuilt this engine in 2015.
You keep the maintenance of it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. If you build an airplane, you're authorized to do the maintenance and repairs.
Okay. Do you have to get it inspected yearly or
Yeah,
anything like that?
I actually do the inspection.
Oh.
So the FAA issues you a mechanic's license just for this airplane now.
Okay.
So we can.
Well, that's pretty convenient.
It is. It's really convenient. Yeah. My pay rate hasn't gone up yet, but and my wife helps out.
Oh, that's very cool. All right. Thank you, Mike, very much.
My pleasure.
All right.